What is up, y'all? Hope you're well. We're here for our weekly manifestation oracle message using the Wisdom of the Hidden Realms oracle deck. One of the first ones I ever bought. Let's see. Sold some 2026 prediction series today. So I'm excited for people to get in and start doing the work. I know for myself, I'm planning on my days off on Thursday and Friday, I want to watch the yearly overview and do my journaling exercises from that. And I want to watch the winter reading and do the journal exercises for that, and I want to watch January and do the January exercises. I still haven't gotten like my full on like New Year's manifestation list ritual on yet, and I love doing that. I love setting aside some time with a good journal and a fresh pen and just writing out all of my desires and visions for the year ahead. And just like when I'm hungry and I'm like shopping on an empty stomach, or when I'm ordering and I over I love over committing myself in my resolutions. But I don't know, I just love lists. I love mind mapping. I love brainstorming. I love brain dumping. And so, get me with a journal and a good pen and little ritual moment. I'm going to town, so I'm excited to do that. All right, let's take a look. And so while we're on the subject, the 2026 prediction series is a really amazing tool to not only take a look at the year ahead and get like a bird's eye view. It's sort of like having the first draft of a script or looking at it like an outline, and you get the basic plot points of the year, and it gives you a heads up so you can make use of the rhythms and the times of slow, the times of momentum. There are kind of consistent themes as far as like opportunity and challenge and healing coming up this year, and they kind of like, it's like the story kind of continues to develop with those things. So I think it's really amazing already, just from having made the workshop and gone back and heard more the messages more when I edited. It's already good to have a heads up and be fortified for the challenges, self-aware and ready, knowing what kind of skills and resilience I'll have to take advantage of opportunities and to navigate challenges. So, and also to be aware of, sort of some sticky periods through the year that could present, relational turbulence. And if we can, preemptively prevent damage before it happens, then I always think that's strides in the right direction. All right, let's grab some cards for the week to see what we need to do with our energy and our goals. Altar Priestess. Make sure to take some ritual time. Oh my gosh, this is exactly what I want to do on my days off. Preparation, prayer, sacred ritual. I love this. Some people might feel like they like to do that all the last week of the last week of December. Some people might, wait till like the first couple of days of January, and that's like when they do the ritual thing. Depending on what my schedule is like for me in my life, it's always been like the whole month of January is centered around envisioning and planning and preparing and ritual and going into the journaling and getting back into like the meditation practices and getting good sleep and good clean eating and all of it, just treating all of my life as this sacred temple. I move through my days in my life as if I were like a monk or a nun or a high priestess, and I treat my house and myself and my life as my temple, and my work too. When I go to work, I treat it with sacred reverence, and I'm sort of taking this part of myself with me everywhere. And that's the consciousness that I bring with me, because, God is with me everywhere. And so when you think about that, you're like, whoa, is my space like if I were having God over to my house, like, is this what I would want God to hang out in? Like, maybe I should Windex the coffee table, you know what I mean? So, think about how you want to prepare yourself as the altar priest or priestess to go into this year, as your, like, even the most mundane acts of this year are going to feel sacred. It's all an offering. It's all a ritual, right? From, when you wake up in the morning, saying your prayers, when you're, like doing a hand washing, right? The kosher hand washing I like to do in the morning with my morning prayers, and all of these things that kind of gets me in like a state of mindfulness and consciousness and awareness and awakenedness and reverence throughout my day. And I appreciate my time within my day, and every little moment is curated to support my spirit or my soul or my mind or my mission or my health or my, environment or my community, right? It's like I'm always thinking about how I can steward the day. And so one thing that I wanted to adopt more of this year, like, we and my friend were at work, we were talking about like, what is your word of the year? And we were talking about leaving the year of the snake and moving into the year of the fire horse. And we were talking about our words from last year versus this year. And I was thinking, I was like, my word, I think for me, I think the pivotal change too is like, what will be the game changer for me this year is discipline and consistency. And I think that if I can really embody those two things, I think that that's going to change everything. And so bringing all of that reverence in, and then on top of it, having discipline, consistency, intention. One specific area that I would like to have more intention and consistency and discipline in is not only just going to bed earlier, getting up earlier, because that's a game changer right there. I have lived the experience of the way that those early morning hours expand, and you can get like a whole nother day in an extra 3 hours or so in the morning. It's crazy. So not only like that is going to be the biggest game changer, and that takes the most discipline for me to really abide by those strict bedtimes and wake times. And I do like to get up early, but it's just getting to the bed early is the key. The next one for me, and tell me if you get this too, is that because I am so prone to go into a trance, I can focus and concentrate when I need to. So I'm not sure that it's attention deficit disorder, or if it's just the fact that I can slip into going into a vision, or like I said, channeling so easily. But it makes it hard for me to stay on task sometimes, or not even I can stay on task, but when I'm between tasks, I can drift off into the imaginary world and burn a lot of time like that. Ruminating, what is the other word? What is it called? Limerence, maladaptive imagining. This is where you don't have that awareness or that control or that self-mastery over envisioning and imagination and creative envisioning and all of those things, and it just kind of takes over your mind, and you're kind of lost and disconnected and ungrounded some people have this where they spend hours of their day just dissociated in outer space. And so I hadn't heard about maladaptive imagining until recently, and I don't think I'm there, but I definitely have a tendency to just need to direct myself in between tasks. And so I have done that a few times recently, where I've just made a little bit of extra effort to stay on top of directing myself through the day. And even that has made such a difference in the amount of like more day that I can live. And, it's not just about productivity. It's about like, oh, well, if I'm focused and I have discipline and I have structure, then that gives me freedom to do the things that I love to do that help me flourish during the day as well. It's not just about output. What about the fact that I want to go on a leisurely run and have that time outdoors and get my fresh air, or have time to like sit and stretch and do some dancing? And, there's lots of things that I want to do that bring playfulness into my day, but without the discipline, you're burning the time and you're not giving yourself as much freedom, right? So with structure comes freedom. And I think that for me, sacred ritual and having a good, solid, healthy routine are like very paralleled. Like for me, I can bring a sense of ritual into my mundane routines, if that makes sense. All right. Love this. Ooh, Swan Queen. Oh my God. Transformation, intuition, and patience. I feel like the cards and the spirit are helping me shamelessly plug the 2026 prediction series, because I keep advertising this as life-changing transformation for less than a craft cocktail, because the 2026 prediction series is $12. So I hope that is accessible to everybody, but it's less than going out and getting one drink. If you think about adding it's less than mostly the advertised ticket price on the menu. But when you add tax and a tip to it, it's a steal. It's less than I think even a fast food combo at this point. So this is life changing. If you can squeeze the $12 and make that sacrifice and make that investment, that could change your life to the point where you wouldn't even have to think about $12 at the end of the year. You know what I mean? Investing in yourself and in pushing yourself into your next level. And I'm not saying this just with empty words. I do this too. I didn't think that I could afford to join the Kabbalah Center. And so I took advantage of their scholarship program for a period of time so that I could take classes. And it was difficult for me to get help like that, but I did. It was that was part of my tikkun, was feeling safe to accept something like that or ask for something like that. And so I did. I used it for a few months, and then it gave me the motivation and the kind of fire to push myself to just think, okay, I can pick up an extra shift if I needed to, and knowing that, I think you just subconsciously start to earn more. And you, when you set the bar for yourself and you have these goals and you're trying to meet them, it's you start breaking it down and, okay, I can pick up an extra shift, or I can do this, or I can do that. You start getting resourceful. And then it's the universe starts meeting you and you start taking action. It just starts giving you more. And, but sometimes it's these things help us push us outside of our comfort zone. So, it is what it is. It's $12, but it is a workshop. It's not just about giving us some false sense of control so we know exactly what's happening all year. That's not really what it's about, but it does give us a good, impression of what to expect. But it more so helps us see ourselves more clearly and see and interact with life with more context about maybe the purpose of things, or how something you can make it useful in that, even when things don't work out the way that you think that you wanted them to, or maybe you're in a challenging situation, you can, maybe some part of yourself is going to be revealed through this. You're going to surprise yourself. You're going to tap into a new level of capability and confidence and faith. But then in that, there might be some opportunity that arises on the other side of it. You just never know. But we can navigate life letting the circumstances fuel our transformation, or they can fuel our personality caving in and going crazy, right? Because life is always just going to be unpredictable. It's always going to send us challenges. It's always going to send us difficulties. But when we start seeing those as sort of like high octane, high adrenaline sports, like, oh, challenge, this is really an opportunity, and when we can meet it that way, it's like the suffering lessens, and we start navigating things with more ease and more grace and more patience and more confidence and more faith that God will be activated in that situation. And this is going to bring out, a greater light of your soul than had you not gone through this experience, right? So life does change us, right? Just like the weather changes a rock face. But where life changes us, where the rock face has no control over the way the water and the wind affect the way that the rock face ends up looking, we can choose through our decisions and through our attitudes how life shapes us and what it does to us. We can't control what life throws at us, but we can control how we meet that and how we allow it to move through us. Is it going to move through us in a way that's going to leave us more bitter and sour? And is it going to fester into something noxious and toxic? Or are we going to ferment into a beautiful bouquet and vintage, right? So transformation, intuition, and patience. Rome wasn't built in a day. All right, let's see. I feel like it's these two cards. I'm loving it. Oh, my favorite card in this deck. I love this. It's my boyfriend there, that little genie guy. Love him. Material wealth, true prosperity. Yowza, guys. I love it. So what do we have here? We have preparation, prayer, and sacred ritual, right? Getting that time in to articulate our vision of our life this year to ourselves. This isn't just any other year we're starting. This is our new timeline. We are finally out of that limbo state and we are into the next season of our lives. Like the series has returned. We're in episode 1 now. So we get to intentionally create this life that we're living this year. We get to be the change that we want, but we have to, if you're going to be the writer of a show, of a series, the characters don't know what to do. The scenes, no one knows what scenes to set up without the script, right? So too are we. We are writing the script of our reality. And so part of what you can do, there's something very magical about taking ideas from nothing, from just pure inspiration, pure sparks of that creator light, and then bringing them into crystallization so that we can understand and envision with clarity what we imagine, and then being able to articulate that and bring it into words. That is a very magical and powerful act of creation, of bringing something into the physicality, of speaking it into being, into a word. And then an even more further step you can take into that physicalization is the writing down, right? You're bringing the spiritual into the material. We're bringing it into embodiment. So it's like birthing it through. So I love that. So spending time to really think about what it is that you want to channel through this year. And, ultimately, I want my year to align with the Creator's greatest divine plan and purpose for me. I think that's always going to give the most fulfillment, because if I force my will and get things that aren't really meant for me, they're going to bring chaos. They're not going to bring true fulfillment. It's never going to be satisfactory. There's going to be something off. It's going to feel flat. It's going to be something missing. It's just never going to be quite right. So if we want to align with whatever our true destiny is, our highest destiny, then, I think that's the ultimate the ultimate goal to set, but we have to get more clarity than that, because then we don't want to be just like these passive people just waiting for life to happen to us, right? So what is it that we desire? What is it that we dream of? What do we want to make happen? Let's get that out and flesh it out, and through ritual and through sitting with time with ourselves, creating some time to do that. And if you have like your, a new journal picked out for the year, if you have a nicer little, notebook that you have, even just, there's so many cute memo books now. If you just want to get something that's cost like a couple of dollars, you can get that. It's kind of like more of a sturdy hardback notebook. But that the pages don't tear out. That's why I like the memo books. They're really self-contained for a nice little journal, and sturdy and sustainable. But yeah, getting yourself like a nice little journal and a little pen, it gives you even more of a sense of ritual when you sit down to do it. It's like, it's all here. It's all contained in this space. So we're Diamond Dreamer, we're calling in that prosperity. And I think, we always talk about this on this channel. It's not that we're just ordering stuff from the cosmos, like we're ordering off of Amazon, like, okay, cool, God, send me my, all my desires, send me my soulmates, send me my perfect, job, send me the perfect amount of money. Thank you. I'll be waiting. Fast delivery, please. It's not like that. There's payment, right? So what is the payment for these miracles that we want to reveal our greatest destiny? The payment is our transformation, our growth, the effort that we put in to make it happen, the faith that we have to keep believing even when it's difficult, even when the odds are against us, right? So it's when we give ourselves and lend ourselves to transformation, when we change our perspective, when we change our consciousness, when we learn to have stronger boundaries, when we become, more refined vessels that reflect the image of the Creator, and we sacrifice our lower carnal reactive nature, whatever that easy nature is that we're just born here with, like if it's whatever comes easy to us and that's how we hide out and you're just like, oh, I just want to do this. Like that's usually the ask is for you to do the opposite of that, right? So if you're the kind of person who's like, wants to always talk at the meeting, or you're like super confrontational, maybe like it's for you, your tikkun correction, your transformation is all about becoming a better listener and not just talking to hear yourself talk, or rather than or like in a confrontational situation, like maybe you need to practice restraint or restriction because you're the one that's like, well, I want to tell them, I want to pop off. So the harder thing for you would be to restrain yourself or practice that self-control. Whereas for someone who's more avoidant and scared and timid, and it's harder and scarier and heavier lifting for them to confront a situation or to speak up or to share their idea, that person, for them, the tikkun correction or the transformation would be inviting them to be more emboldened to use their voice, to be heard, to feel like it is, they have the self-worth and they are of high enough value to take up for themselves or to defend themselves, or to think, oh, my idea, this might be a good idea. This might be good to share, right? Instead of assuming that, oh, nobody wants to hear my idea. I don't want to say, shrinking yourself, right? Rather than, maybe, for instance, you've got a pair of opposites of people who, one person is a people pleaser and they give and they give and they overgive, but there's something attached to that giving because it's like they feel like that giving defines their value. And so they give and they give and they give because they want people to accept them, or they want people to like them, or they want to feel like they're earning their good, earning their good favor with God or whatever. But it's not like, it's coming from some place of like fear or control or strings attached, or enmeshment even, or codependency. But maybe that person, maybe they need to learn to say no, or to exercise boundaries, or to, be more conscious around what they're giving and not having expectations attached to that giving. Whereas there might be an opposite person who is more tighter and holds on to things, and it's harder for them to share and it's harder for them to give. The transformation for them would be to take a chance and do more acts of sharing. And maybe they're even a person that wants to give, but they feel like they don't have the resources to. And then they would be challenged to stretch themselves a little bit outside of their comfort zone and face that fear. Because God says in the Bible and in the Torah not to test him and expect a miracle, but only in one situation, when it comes to offering or tithing or giving to charity. When you're being conscious about it, obviously not when you're doing it out of a place of fear, guilt, or shame, but when you're coming from a place of charity, that's the only time that you're supposed to be err on the side of I feel like I'm being irresponsible. It's if you're giving to charity, if you're giving to God, if you're giving to something like that, then it's more okay to take that risk, right? Otherwise, it's good to be prudent and responsible. Okay, so transformation, Swan Queen. We have the Diamond Dreamer, bringing that prosperity, the material wealth. And the true prosperity really starts when we make that vibrational change first. Because if we start calling in prosperity, but we don't have the vibrational or psychological foundation or the spiritual foundation to receive or to have or to manage that prosperity, it's going to slip right through our hands. Whereas if we learn how to have a good relationship with finances, and we have healed our sense of self-worth and deserving, and we have some more awareness around our money patterns and things like that, then it's we have built a vibrational foundation that when money comes in, we're a vibrational match, and we feel like we can have that, and we're prepared to steward and manage that. Whereas if we don't have the consciousness or the vibration to match that money that's coming in that we're receiving, the dissonance will find a way to get rid of it, right? We have to have vibrational resonance with something for it to last. We can receive our manifestation, and then it can bounce right off of us again if we're not a vibrational match. So making that vibrational match. And then the last is the Ringmaster of Scrutiny, discernment, clear vision, and details. I love this. So it's the basic, getting in the mood, setting the scene, taking care of the house, getting everything reset, being the altar priestess, giving yourself some sacred ritual time to decompress, hot bath, long walk, meditation, get in the space, and then get into it. And maybe this is even a 2-day thing where you revisit this a couple of times, right? But there's going to be a side of you that's your intuition is flowing and you're channeling, but then there's also going to be a side that you're engaging your logical mind, because you're going to start thinking about pragmatics and logistics and what's practical steps that you can start taking, action steps, looking at the details, being detail oriented. For instance, I have been working on a second platform, but I've been holding off on focusing on that until after the 2026 prediction series was up. And so now I have started a Patreon and a Substack, but that's very new. I'm just learning how to navigate the apps themselves. And so I've just started getting my feet wet with it a little bit. But remember recently when we had the card that said more information is needed, and then consult an expert? Well, this was exactly what, for instance, an example for me where that applied, because it'd be easy for me to assume that I just know how to navigate social media and SEO and all that because of all the other platforms I'm on. But I ended up searching for how to successfully set up a Substack, how to successfully set up a Patreon. And there's so many layers to those platforms that I would have not been using it correctly had I not gone in deeper and like tried to unpack the details before I started. So again, we're at the beginning of a new story. We don't want to rush out haphazardly. We want to take our time and be methodical and be intentional. Take our time doing, looking into things and getting details, but don't spend too much time in perfectionism or like in forever research mode, right? Start to take action, start to put things in place so you can see if it works, and if it doesn't, then you can pivot, you can change, you can adjust, you can edit as you go. But start getting in there and getting your feet wet. But yes, don't skip over or underestimate the power and the value of making sure that all of your details are solid, your ducks are in a row, you're going about things the right way from the beginning, okay? Because sometimes there's mistakes that are easier to avoid instead of having to backpedal, right? All right. That is all for tonight. Discernment, clear vision, and details. These cards were so like on the money with everything that we were talking about. I love it. That's all for tonight. Tomorrow we will be back together for our weekly alchemy message, where we will be unpacking our approach to this week's spiritual lessons and how kind of we're navigating through those. So until then, blessings, peace be with you. Check out the 2026 prediction series. You can find it through my link below to my Stan store. It's in the description box below. It'll say purchase 2026 prediction series here. And you will have lifetime access to that. You'll basically, once you purchase it, you'll get an email that will give you a link to a playlist. And then I would say save that email in like its own little folder, or copy it into a note in your notes, but like have it somewhere where you can go back and easily access the link, because it's not like available anywhere. It's a private link. And please don't share it because I'm poor. I've only sold a couple, so. All right. Okay. That is all for tonight. I'll see y'all again tomorrow.